Okay, so we're back. We are now in the design and constructing a prototype. So as I mentioned in my first video, a prototype is the first fully working product. So like here in this example, after building a prototype, this aeronautical engineer will test it in a wind tunnel. So aeronautical engineer is a specialized field of engineer that is working or making airplanes, or they're the one testing the mechanism of aeroplane. So what they do, they make first product before they make another another kind of product. Because if you are not making a prototype and then you make another one without testing the first product, possibly it will fail. That's why prototype is the best product that you could test all the features of your product. Okay, so number 7, what materials do you think the Wright brothers used to construct the wings of their airplane? And then why? I think the first wing is made up of metal because metal is flexible. So, metal sheet, meaning thin metal, this part. I think before they are using a metal part here so that it will easily fly at the same time it's flexible. Okay, so next step after making a prototype, you need to test your prototype. So the Wright brothers used their glider to test their idea. So this is their first prototype. So they test this one to know if it is working well or not. At the same time, if how many minutes or hours it could stay. At the same time, they also test how far it can go. The product needs to be carefully tested to see if it is working safely and solve the problem. Tests should use careful measurement. Recording the result of the test you do will help you to make adjustment to your design. After the test, you should evaluate whether or not your product is solving the problem or not. Orville and Wilbur tested their gliders and plane. They observed how well it was controlled. At the same time, it made changes from the first thing that they do. So in number 8, why do you think it is important to record your measurement and observation? It's important because recording measurement uh, is important because you could use the information if just in case you have some wrong uh, activity in your experiment. So that's why you need to log down, you need to write the important things that is happening during your experiment so that you have something to go back to or something to revise when something went wrong to your experiment. Then next, let's do a simple math here. The Wright brothers measure the elapsed time from takeoff to landing time. Elapsed time is elapsed time is the amount of time what passes from the start time to the end time. The flight departs at 7 a.m. and arrives at 11:20 a.m. How long is the flight? Remember when you were going somewhere else and then you could see the time, departure time, meaning the time you're going to left in the airport, and then the arrival time is the time you're going to arrive in your destination. So that is elapsed time, so the duration of time of your flight. So let's try to solve this one. Remember that the elapsed time have hours and then the minutes. The blue here represents the hour and then the red ones represents the minutes. Let's calculate. So here, the flight is 4 hours and 20 minutes. So from 7 in the morning to 11:20, how long is the flight? So we're going to count. So from 7 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 7 o'clock going to 11 is 4 hours. And then remember, there is a minutes, 11:20. So how many minutes? So from 11, how many minutes? So it's 5, 10, 15, 20. So the flight takes 4 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, so that is the first flight of model of the Wright's brother. But let's try to calculate this one. Find the elapsed time for each flight. Example, if you depart in the Mom airport at 9 o'clock and then arrive in your destination at 10:45, how long is your flight? So that is 1 hour and 45 minutes. How about if you depart at 1:30 p.m. in the Mom airport and then you arrive at 3:55 p.m., how long is your flight? So that is 2 hours and 25 minutes. How about if you depart in the Mom airport at 11 a.m. and then you arrive at 2:15 p.m., how long is your flight? That is 3 hours and 15 minutes. If you want to draw this illustration, you could use this clock and then count the time to check. But I already count this for you. But if you want to check, you could use this clock and then do like this. Okay? So next. After testing your prototype, you need to communicate the result. Okay? Many times a team of people work together to design the solution to a problem. It is important to document and to communicate with your team members the solution and then the data or the evidence that you collected. Because as I mentioned, you could return back to your research paper when you have some problem. So recording your files or recording the evidences and data in your notebook or in your log sheet is very important because that is your evidence. Then you could return back once you have some problems. Okay? So, by the way, you could write it in your notebook, but some people nowadays, because of technology, they record it to their computers. But still, pen and paper recording is very important until now. But to be secure, you could record it in your laptop. And then that's answer number 9. So identify 2 things you need to communicate to your group mates. That is, I circle this one, solution, and then the data or the evidence. That is the thing that you need to communicate to your group members if you are doing in a group research. Now, number 10, tell why the diagram can be an effective way to communicate the information. So this is an example of diagram. Why we need to draw the model. Some people easily understand the project with drawing. Some people can easily understand by just reading. But some people easily understand with this. Actually, for me, it's better to understand the things with illustration or picture because you can see it directly. At the same time, no need to read. You will just look at it, the drawing, and then try to analyze. But some people really loves to read. So you could use both way, the one with sentences or the one with picture. It's fine. So here, picture or diagram can show others how you build the solution. Okay. Some will just write, okay, number 1 step, put this one, attach this one. Next is this one. That is the paragraph way of building things. Other will just draw it like this one. Okay. The next is after that one, number 8 is evaluate the design. So you need to evaluate the design. You need to check. Okay, evaluate meaning you need to check. After testing your prototype, you should evaluate how well it solved the problem. Does it solve the problem? Yes or no? And explain. You may need to redesign your product. Orville and Wilbur redesigned their airplane many times. Since their airplanes have been redesigned many times by many people, modern airplanes have many different designs because they have different purposes. So, this design, this model of jet solves the problem of turning in a different ways because the first designer of airplane is having hard time to turn If you want to turn right or turn left, they're having hard time, especially during the time with strong wind. So I will show you some models of different aeroplanes or airplanes. So before, in 1934, this is the design of airplane. So this airplane is used in Alaska. Alaska is a place where airplanes landed in water. That's why they have here like a boat shaped landing pad. Okay. And then next to that one, since Alaska have an airport already, not a seaport but airport, they constructed the airplane like this one. So this is 1943. So it serves in water purpose. This one is in land purpose. So in 1954, if you could observe, the shape changes. Same with this one. Okay. And then another one in 1968, it changes again until it become like this one. Actually, it becomes bigger now. Why? Because the passenger before, it could only cater 50 people in the plane. But now, 100 plus passengers could ride in the airplane. So, as I mentioned, they need to redesign it for different purposes. Before, they only want to travel. If you travel in this airplane, only 6 people or passenger could ride. This one around 50. So until they redesign it for big flight like this one. Okay. So we are in the last page. What are the steps in the design process? Here are the design process steps. Identify the problem, do the research, develop a possible solution, choose one solution. Next is design and construct a prototype. Then next is test the prototype and communicate the result to your group. And then lastly, evaluate and redesign your project. And then last question is, judge, why do you think it is important to communicate the solution to others? It's important because others might have ideas that will help to improve your design. Okay, girls, so if you have some questions, just send it in my WhatsApp or in class. Thank you. Have a good day.